going back to being fit, there's a difference between being fit to play and being match fit. And it's proved over and over and over again that you have to have miles in your legs to be able to perform in a test match. And yes, it's all right saying we've had 5 days of intense practice, but bowlers have been bowling their 40-minute spells in a net, going off for physio, going off for ice baths. They haven't been standing in the field for the next 6 hours. They haven't been chasing the ball. They haven't had to do the hard yards, just being stood up all day. It is hard enough walking around a cricket pitch. So when we come to say we didn't execute our plans as a bowler, and we, as a bowling unit, we haven't executed, is that because we haven't got the skill, we aren't fit enough, or is it just we're coming up with the wrong plans? So there's a whole host of questions. You saw the intensity that we bowled on the first day at Perth, and we rolled Australia. And then we haven't seen that intensity since, except for that very short session when you were chasing a very short amount of runs in the last test match. And I want to see that intensity throughout the test match. You want to see that from ball one to the end. You want to see the bowlers coming off drained, being carried off that pitch because they put so much time and effort into the game. And we're just not seeing that.
I think Andrew Flintoff, one of your teammates, I think he said he used to drag himself off at the end of the play and he'd slump in his chair, but you knew he'd done the job. He'd given it everything he could. Talking to Brett Lee earlier today, an old sparring partner of yours, and he said he feels perversely, he says, England might well be best performed to produce in terms of the bowlers from now on because they've now got 2 matches under their legs. The fact that what you were just touching on, they've actually played a couple of matches and that finally they might actually be able to have the ground into then back up time and again. And look, there's been a lot of talk about Jofra Archer. He had that nice little spat at the end. Love seeing that. Brett Lee thought it was great to have that little bit of banter and a bit of back and forth and I suppose some chirp or some chatter. It was good fun. But how do you feel? The fact they've actually got, do you agree with Brett there? They've got 2 under their belt. Now they might be able to get going?
Massively. I mean, I was a trundler. I bowled 80 mile an hour to watch that 130 clicks. Swung it. But I managed to get a job done, and it's being able to back yourself up over and over again. And it's not net bowling because you're bowling at your friends, you're bowling at your mates, you're bowling in a net environment that don't have consequences. You put yourself in front of 40,000 people, you're live, the ball actually disappears, there's actually consequences. You're playing against somebody that actually wants to beat you, and it's not just in a net situation. You've got time at fine leg, third man in between spells, you've got time in between overs, you have to put the odds in, you're standing out there, you might be out there for an hour and a half and not bowl and come up and have to put in your performance. So there's a whole host of different things that happen in a game that you cannot replicate in practice. And it's been tried and tested over and over and over again that playing is the best form of practice and getting yards under the. Yes, we might have had five intense. We've over prepared. I can't my arse. We've over prepared. Pardon my French. But not a chance in hell have we over-prepared for this test matches. And as you say, Brett Lee might have a point that now that we've come up and said, right, then this is... Why can we not hold line and length? Why, for intense periods of time, why do we always go back to the short ball? You go to the short ball, there's only one way. Unless we're bowling for run-outs, we'll put 2 ways in. If we're bowling for run-outs, there's only one way of getting out, is that caught. How can you take away your main modes of dismissal by saying, right, then we're just going to bowl short at you? And is that the captain? Is it the coach? Is it the bowlers? Is it the lack of direction? Is it the lack of ability to say, right, then let's see what have Australia done? Oh, Australia have hit line and length and hit the deck hard and actually run it in and try to get the ball to move. I can remember when I was playing, listening to Glenn McGrath and Jason Gillespie. And they were number 1 and 2 in the world, or very high up in the rankings. And they said, what's the secret? And they just said, we ran up and hit back of a length hard. And we ran up and hit the top of off stump. And the key, a little bit of a bouncer every now and again to keep the batsman honest, but we assume it's not going to move. So the movement off the seam or in the air was a bonus. And all they did, and if you go back through history, all the great fast bowlers and all the seam, they hit line and length for a long period of time. Mitchell Stark, what's he done? He's pitched the ball up, he's swung it, he's gone across our bat. Yes, our batters have given him a lot of help, and you just dangle it outside off stump, and within the first 3 or 4 balls, we're having a wild swish at it. We'll get onto the batters later, but they've done is hold line. They've done the basics, and I said last time, cricket is a very simple game made complicated by the people that play it. If you take out bold LBW out of the equation and we're just bowling for caught in the outfield, then surely that is not the most statistical way of getting wickets. It's not the most. Go back to hitting line and length, hitting the top of off stump, bring bowl, bring LBW, bring caught behind back into the game, and start putting pressure back onto the. Running up and bowling short back of a length is not cutting the mustard.
You touched on the overprepared comments from Brendan McCallum. Now I know you do some motivational speaking. You also got the hog roasting beast. Hog roast. Is being overprepared then? How, would you have roasted in the sunshine in Noosa in the last couple of days? Would you have been on the golf course? How would you have fared yourself if you're out there as someone sort of living in the Midlands around England at the moment? How would you have fared out in the sun after 4 days of Test cricket?
So I'll answer that by putting you into the scenario when we went over there 2006-07, Adelaide.
Yes,
We lost in Adelaide,
really.
and a Test match that we shouldn't have lost. And I was absolutely gutted at the end of the game. I was trying to sit in the locker at Adelaide because I didn't want to be. I just wanted to see them quietly. Man, that night, most of the team went out to watch. Who's the singer? Robbie Williams. They went out
Yep.
and watched Robbie
Yep.
Williams and a concert. We've just lost a Test match that we shouldn't have lost. How on earth can you go out and enjoy yourself and go out to see a concert? And to me, it hurt so much that we lost that Test match that I couldn't go out and enjoy myself. To say, do you know what? We have underperformed in 2 Test matches. We played 2 days of the first game. We had lots of time in between. We've played 4 days of the second game, but we're now going to go on holiday in Noosa. It doesn't look right. To the outside world, it doesn't look right. The fact that a load of people said, you know, you've underprepared, you've not been practicing, or you haven't played the games that you need to. Yes, okay, if your belief system and you've prepared that way for the last 4 years going into it, you stand up for yourself and beliefs, and which what they have done. Got no qualms whatsoever with the fact that they have stuck to their guns and believed in their method. But if your method isn't working and your results aren't coming out, and then you bugger off to Noosa on a jolly, then you're opening yourself to criticism. And the optics are not looking fantastic for the England side at the moment. And yes, you can say they don't care, that they're going to stuck to the plans, but if their beliefs and their plans are not the right way around of winning Ashes series or winning cricket, then heads have to roll.